step all the way to the end.
So heavy.
Welcome to another episode of This Old Hoopty, where I take this piece of crap and try and make it into something a little more pretty, I hope. In today's episode, we're going to be working on the Mom-mobile, the 2022 Hyundai Palisade. The princess and I are going to be installing the steps, finally getting them out of the garage. You ready?
Of course.
All right, she's ready, I'm ready. Let's get the old sides off and let's get the steps installed. I'm going to quickly go over everything that's included in the steps package and detail of what you're going to need to get this install completed. Then we're going to get right into the work. Let's get started. All right, everything's going to come in the one big box, which you saw us putting out here. You're going to have one that's marked left side and one that's marked right side, along with everything else. We'll go over that stuff in a second. The way to tell which ones are the front of the left side and the right side, if you get confused, is the front is going to have a single bolt hole or a screw hole, which is going to be going up underneath here. So that's how you can tell which one is the front and which one is not, just in case of quality control. It should be the one that's lifted here is the left side. If you're looking at the truck from the back, the left side is the driver's side and the one that's marked right side is the passenger side. But like I said, just look for this bolt hole and that is the front on both of them. You're going to get a bunch of nuts and bolts for the underside. These are going to go along here, underneath the bottom of the SUV. You're going to get some spare plastic push tabs in case you break these. There's 4 of these, 2 on each one. So they give you 2 spares. They also give you 2 spares of the little nuts and bolts that are going to go along the side. And that's what's going to bolt into these here. You're also going to get a bag of the plastic covers, which are going to cover this trim piece here. There's a gap along the bottom of each step. That's going to be using the rubber trim piece from the existing SUV, is going to get pulled off on each side and placed in there using the push tabs. I'll show you how that goes when we get there. You're also going to get the, I guess you would call these micro mud flaps. These are going to take the place of the ones that are currently there on the front and back, in front and in the rear of each of the tires on the left and right side of the vehicle. So the tools you're going to need to get this project done are going to be, I'm saying use a driver because you'll be able to get these screws out a lot quicker for the front and rear here. Also either an electric or manual ratchet with a 10mm socket. That's going to be for getting this rear piece off. The part that's on the truck is going to clip off with snaps. The new one here, as you saw, is going to be bolted on from the bottom and from the top, all 10mm nuts. Also, a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, just to tighten things down if you need to do something by hand, if it's going into plastic or whatever. And a trim tool kit will help as well, because you're going to need to pull the trim off of here to get that rubber piece, which you're going to be reusing, so don't break that. And when we get to it, to pull the little push tabs out of the rubber trim piece here, we're going to use a needle nose pliers. Okay, now that you know everything involved in removing and installing and what came in the kit, let's get to the work. Quick tip on getting to these bolts over here. You're going to turn this wheel inwards. This way you can get to the bolts here with a driver. Gives you a lot more space. All right, so we're going to start here at the front of the vehicle. We're going to remove these Phillips head bolts here and the one pop tab under the front of this little flap. We're going to remove this 10mm bolt right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. And that should allow me to start prying back this piece here. I'll open the doors so I can get to it. Next. Okay, let's collect our pieces. Take that.
It's still stuck in here.
Okay, let's take that and put it right next to the other one over there. All right, let's get the back one done. Over here. This one, this isn't gonna fit, so we're gonna use this.
That's
Put it in there, okay. There we go. Not working with a lot of space here, but we got it. Here we go. Take this. Put it with the other one over there. That's gonna get it. All right, open it up all the way. All right. All right, let's take one of these thicker trim removal pieces like this. So we're going to tease this plastic piece right here out, because that is what's actually getting replaced with that. Some of the clips that are holding the original piece on are going to snap, the little plastic. They've been on the car for a while. It's natural. We're going to be replacing all of them with the metal clips that hold on the steps, so it's not important. So just be careful you don't break anything else. Pull all these snaps off. There we go. So these are the little plastic pieces that you're hearing snapping, but like I said, all of them are getting replaced with metal pieces, so it's not important. All the metal pieces came with the new steps, so we got to get this out of the way. Actually, all right, remember, we talked about keeping the weather strip that goes underneath the doors. So to remove that, all of these little white push lock tabs are going to have to come out. Tabs on top. Yep, and we're going to push it down. So squeeze the tabs, push it down. Same thing, we just go all the way along here. Squeeze the tabs, push it down. Once you got all these little white things popped out, there are holes holding onto these little clips that just slide on and off. So we're gonna slide this off. There we go. Now we want to keep this in perfect condition because we're going to be reusing it on the steps. So let's put it off to the side. Another thing that trim removal toolkit is going to come in handy is for this metal pry bar, which is the right size to remove these little pieces. You'll notice on the back of the new steps, there will be a yellow or white push tab here on the ends. You can see it there, and one in the middle. All these other ones need to have nothing there. We're going to have to remove the push tabs that did not come out with the piece that we pulled off. And when we insert our metal bolts, we're going to skip the first one and we're going to skip the fourth one and just put them in here. We'll get to that in a second. First, I'm going to clean out all of these. See how easy that comes out? All right, let me quickly check underneath, see if there's any left under there. Bottom's good. So we no longer need the old pieces. We have the new front here, the new rear here. We're going to reuse the existing bolt. We're going to reuse the existing screws. All right, so you see these three rubber plugs? They're from under here, underneath the frame. There's going to be three in the center. These are going to have to come out, so this here can be flush once we've bolted these up through them. If you leave these on, there's going to be a gap and this is not going to sit flush. It's going to wobble. So you want these off right here, because this right here is going to cover the holes. Next up, we're going to take our side nuts and bolts. We're going to take them apart. So each one are like this. You can screw them in with a Phillips head. You can use a driver. What we're going to do is we're going to disassemble each one. They're rubber banded together, and then we're going to insert them in here, like we said, skipping the first, the fourth from the rear, and the very rear for these yellow tabs right here. We need to skip them. So the very rear, the very front, and the fourth from the rear, actually the fifth from the rear, is going to be skipped. Every other one needs one of these to go into the frame. And then these bolts here are going to come through here and tie it all together. So Maya, do me a favor. I want you to undo all the bolts sitting with the washers right here, just like that. Okay? And separate all of them, and I'll start inserting them in the cab. You got it? Just unscrew that, hold on to the back of the bolt, and you should be able to unscrew it. All right, now for the rest of you guys, while Princess Maya is unbolting these, we're going to take these little nuts and we're going to insert them to the necessary holes on the side of the cab. To do that, we're going to take these like this. We're going to slide one side through and let it slide back into place like that. That's the purpose of the rubber band. So it can move and just kind of snap back into place. So you want it right in the center of each one of these holes. Each one of these like this, we're gonna push in the one end and then we're gonna kind of slide it in the hole and let it snap back into place. So next one here, we're gonna slide it into the hole like so. Just like that, snap right back into place. So remember, we're gonna do all of these except for the first one, the last one in the back, and then 5 forward from the rear. Let's do those now. All right. You'll remember we took the weather stripping off from the original piece. These little holes in the rubber are gonna snap onto these little plastic tabs right here. So each one of these holes is lined up with a plastic tab, as you can see. And then once we get the plastic tab in the hole, like that, we're gonna snap these pieces in here. These little white push lock tabs are gonna go into these holes here. And then this part here is done, and this can be mounted to the cab. So let's get this on here now. Right here. All right, with these last 2 pieces here, now we'll be able to lift this up and get it mounted onto the truck. So let me just snap these in. There we go. And now we've got our reused weather stripping. Maya, you gonna help me hold that end over there?
Wow, that's a lot of black dot.
Yeah. Bring it towards the car, Maya, and you're gonna lift it up. Move it more towards the car. I can't move it. Thank you. So before I snap this push lock in here, I just want to make sure everything is perfect. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the first, the middle, and the last little screws here into place. Okay,
It's too
right there.
heavy.
I got just enough to hold it into place. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Now these little beauties go underneath the bottom in a similar fashion. Okay, just a quick add in here. I'm inserting them all together like this. I'm just leaving a nice gap like this. That way I can go up and through and then just kind of bring the nut home to cinch everything together. All right, so we're gonna need 6 of these for this side. That's what it's gonna look like when it's done. All right, now I'll just hand tighten these and the sides are done. All right, so we'll go over the back one in a second, but the front one is pretty self-explanatory. That's why I'm gonna start with this one. This end cap fits right over here, and that's your finished piece. It has your splash guard built in here. I'll do the rest of this by hand. So there's also a little pop rivet that goes up under here. So this little pop rivet that comes in the bag with the spare pieces, that's what locks the step to this front piece so it doesn't flap around. Just get that together. There we go. Now that's nice and solid. So the back comes with this piece here, which I'm guessing is for maybe the 2020 model of this truck, because the 2022, it doesn't fit. It doesn't slide over this. There's no way to make it fit with this step. It's supposed to go this way. But the step here is your guard. You have one bolt right here that connects the inner fender well to the step, to the frame. So this is all tied together. Now the only thing that's left are these little caps to cover all of the open Phillips heads. So let's get these on, and this side is done. These are double-sided tape, so it comes with a little pack like this, which I'm guessing is some sort of a rubbing alcohol. Super primer. I'm guessing this is to clean things. For plastic trim attachment with the adhesive tape. Surface clean, dry, and remove rust. Looks pretty dry and crinkled. We're gonna call this garbage. So what we're gonna do is, I'm not gonna use this Chinese crap. I'm gonna go get an alcohol pad from inside the house. I'm gonna wipe each one of those little plastic pieces down. That way these little double-sided tapes don't come off. Let me get that and I'll be right back. All right, let's button this beauty up. Each one of these Little backing plate has some, hopefully this is decent 3M double-sided tape. And you can see the top has an angle. See there? So it goes upwards to match the angle of here. So what I'm going to do is, got these from inside the house. Just going to give this a quick wipe down with alcohol. Get any oils off of here. Let it dry real quick. Hit all of them. Keep things somewhat in order. We're going to throw out our super awesome, whatever the hell that is. All right, so this job ended up being a little more complex than expected. It's not just a simple hold up and bolt, because there's some angles you got to move things around, some pressure you got to put on. It's a little hard for her to get the screws in some of the areas. So what we're going to do, because the whole point of this was doing this together, Maya's going to help me install the push button start in that truck tomorrow. All right, Maya, so tomorrow we're going to install the same push button start that's in this SUV. We're going to put that in the old S10. You going to help me out with that?
Of course.
All right, so that should make up for us not being able to do this one together. So I'm going to button the other side of this up myself, get this done and out of the way, and then get this out to you guys. Let's keep going so I can show you the finished product. Just got to get these double-sided tape covers on, and we're done with the driver's side. All right, back door area is buttoned up. Let's go bang out the front. All right, so those are good looking. Now let's see what the value is. All right, Maya, what do you think of the new steps? Make things a little easier on you?
Yeah.
All right, problem solved.
And they're perfect.
Joanne, step please.
Love it.
What do you think? Easy peasy? All right, Maya, you want to hold this? Let's see if it'll hold Daddy on there. Hold it right here.
Let me put this down.
It's great.
All right, Maya, come here. Hold this right here. Don't move, okay? Let me see here. I'm about 210 pounds right now, and it's not even moving, so that's pretty good. So.
And that is super strong.
Now what do you think?
It's awesome.
All right. Joancita, thank you for filming. All right, guys, as you can see behind me, the black lowrider hasn't gone anywhere. It is filthy and needs to be cleaned, and we will be getting to the air suspension soon. But I still need to finish the S10, get it out of the garage, and that has a dash to go and a paint job, so we're getting there eventually, but I need that to drive so I can put this back under construction. Here's what the grill looks like. That's also got a video in my playlist if you guys want to see where to buy it and how to install it. All right, so on a scale of 1 to 10, the steps project was probably like, let's say, a 2.5. Only really the 2.5 because the last bolt was kind of hard to get in, but I figured it out on the second go around. Start with the last bolt, and then I had the whole thing done in 15 minutes on the other side. So the only thing I didn't like about this was the princess didn't have too much to do. So we're gonna make that up on the next video. Her and I are gonna do together. We're gonna do some wiring in the S10 in the garage. That she can do. We're gonna deal with some soldering, some crimping, and some other fun stuff to get a push start in that vehicle. So that being said, this video is done. Did you have a good time? Unfortunately, you didn't get to do too much, I know. We're gonna make that up on the next one, right? All right, guys, that brings us to the end of another video. So you guys know what to do. Like it if you like, don't if you don't. Subscribe to keep up with my latest shenanigans, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.